The collection we're now going to look at is our vintage Escapades, and we had our beautiful dies. This collection I'm going to use is our steam. So you can see we've got all these beautiful vehicles that were steam vehicles. So we've got the traction engine, the train, and also the steamboat. But I'm going to mix this with my A4 embossing folders. So this is your tyre tracks. Absolutely gorgeous. So it's a really, really beautiful embossing folder. Now see if I put that behind, and you might be able to see. There you go, you can see now this one also has been inked a little bit, so that's why it just looks a little bit mucky, but that's more stain than actual dirty ink. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off with our embossing folder. So I have cut myself a circle of card, and I'm going to pop this into my embossing folder. But just like we did with our partial cuts, we're now going to do this as a partial emboss. So I'm going to take this, so I've got my best wishes, and it's quite handy to have this already, and I'm going to take my best wishes and I'm going to pop it outside. So I've put it raised at the bottom and indented at the top, and that's going to give me an emboss. So pop that back where I wanted it to be, make sure it's straight, and I can pop that, oh I need that, let's go a little bit further because I can see where it's going to emboss to now. Pop that to there. So then I can pop this onto my plate combination. So don't worry about this. So this is now going to stay absolutely pristine. And again, I'm not putting my magnetic sheet on. Sometimes with the cutting board, the Pro Cut rather, you might need your magnetic sheet. It all depends on your machine. They all vary very, very slightly. Sometimes you might find the magnetic shim is a little bit too much, so you just put a piece of card in instead. So as we've seen, we've only embossed part of this. So if I pop this out now, oh, now you see this one does need an extra little bit of a shim. So let's pop that back in. Let's see if we can, and pop that, let's see if we can get that back in where it came from. And I am going to pop a little bit more of an emboss. There you go. After all that big talk about, oh, it doesn't need it, this one did. Let's put that on there. Right. I shouldn't have lifted it up with such gay abandon, should I? I should have checked before I whipped it out. Don't worry, if I haven't got it quite right, I've got another one that I've already done. So let's try that this time with my magnetic shim, and hopefully that will do it better. Always can sort these out. If things go slightly wrong, we were talking about this in the green room at the studio, is when things go wrong on air, but sometimes it's good that it does, because you see how we can rectify them, how it's not always the end of the world when that does happen. Now that's got to be better this time. Oh, I've also embossed my black. Ah, much better. There you go. Look at that. Beautifully raised. Can you see? There we go. How about that? Now, what you want to do to really highlight that is just to ink around there. So I have, with my desert sand, gone all the way around the outside and then come in over those tracks. What I've also done is just taken a black pen and edged around the edge. So that gives me the impression of a faux matte layer. So that then when I put it onto my cream card, you can really see that black layer pop out. So you've got the white with the ink on, you've got your black layer, your cream, and then I'm going to come in with my grey as well. So it almost looks like I've got an extra matte layer there, but it isn't, it's just my pen. So put that to one side for a minute. So don't worry if things don't always go right first time. We usually can get round them. So the next thing I want to do, let's get my cutting plate, is I've got the Charisma. Now the Charisma for these, and it tells you on the die packet, is available on the USB. Can you see? It just says on here, that's where the Charisma is. So if you got the dies and it says that, then there's no point going and looking on the website, because I doubt they would be there. I'd be very surprised. So what we can do is we can then, oops, try matching them up with the right images. There we go. Those pop on just there and there. Now, what you've also got is you've got your foundation dies, and I've actually cut those out already from my black. So I've already done that. You can just see that there. Not very good with this top on, sorry. You can't see it very clearly. So let's just take these on. So this is just my Charisma. And I've put my cut tidy under just because I do, and also because there's quite a little bit of lacy detail. And I love how, even though these are very masculine and there is such a need for images for masculine cards, these are going to work for Father's Day, they're going to work for your dad's birthday, your granddad's birthday. You could even use these in female cards, maybe with a bit of steampunk. You know, there are so many different ways to do them. Cut them out of black and add some gilding waxes. They're going to look amazing. There's just so many different ways that you can use them. So pop that over the top of there. Have I got the right plates? Yep. And then away we go. So while that's cutting, let's put our card together. This is going to come together so quickly now. So I've just got a square card base, and onto there I'm going to pop my grey card first. Now, if I remember rightly, this is from the card pack that goes with the Vintage Escapades dies. So we can pop that one onto there. Nice little bit of glue. Oh, that's going to stop. I didn't think that was going to stop then. So nice uncoated cardstock, and I've just put the smallest border around the outside. We don't want too much. Now you see this one has got a nice gap missing in the middle, and that's because I used it for one of my matte layers for my circle, but no one is going to see that. There we go. And then look at this paper. Isn't that absolutely gorgeous? So this is off the USB, and I love this. So you've got your clocks. And again, what I've done is I've inked around the edges so it didn't look like it had been cut. And then I put my black pen around the edge as well, because then it didn't just blend into the cream. Because I found that when I put it, well, call it cream, it's a sort of cream. It just sort of, when you came here, it just sort of drifted off into the cream. There was no definite line. So what I've done now is from a different paper from the USB with different colours. So I wanted to really go into, it's got quite a lovely steampunk feel, is this, hasn't it? I've got another piece of my card from my card collection. There we go. And that's going to come onto there. And then let's get rid of those. We can do this. Again, we've done exactly the same with the black pen around the edge. Just use a bullet nib black pen and it will work perfectly. And then we put that on there. Now you can see I've already put some liquid pearls in here just to add a little bit more detail. So what I've got here is I've got my matte layer. So what I've done, and I don't know how clearly you can see, is I've used 3mm foam pads on that half of my card, and I've used just sort of 1mm foam pads on that half of my card. So that means that when I take these off and I put it over onto the card base, it's going to sit perfectly level, because I've just put the thinner ones over here. They're going to sit over there, which is already raised. Bless me. And then we can come in with our next layers. Just a different way to compose your card. Now the reason I've done it in layers like this is so that I make sure I've got those foam pads in the right place. And then we're going to come in with our embossed. And cards for men can often be quite hard to do. A lot of people struggle with them. But when you've got dies like this, you lose that difficulty. So there we have our card base. Now that could say happy birthday, it could say Father's Day, it could say brother, dad, whatever you want. But I love that just as a card base, and that's almost a card in its own right. So let's have a look at these shapes that we've done. Now I think I'm only going to use 2 of them, but I wanted to cut all 3 out. Look at that, absolutely perfect. Steamboat and tractor and traction engine. Down a bit, and then the steam as well. So we've got all 3 of those, and as I already showed you, I've already cut out the matte layers, or the foundation layers. So let's just pop those on, and then we can decide which ones we want to use. So pop a little bit of glue on the back of there, and that one's going to pop onto the black layer. Now you could go round the edge of the black layer with a little bit of gilding wax before you stick them down. That really looks beautiful, really lifts them. So there's lots of different ways to use these. And we can put that on there, and that one's going to pop. Oops, it's just rising up a bit at the back. We don't want that. Oh, There we go. That's going to go just there. And then the traction engine is going to go just on to here. There we are. Right, so let's bring the card back in and then we can see where these are going to look. So we could put the train down there. Let me bring this up a little bit. We could put the boat on there and the train just there. How's that? That looks not too bad. Or do those work better together? How about just like that? Or how about even put that one like that? We're framing our sentiment and we've broken up the circle as well. And then I think I will put the steam just there. So I'm not going to use the boat. I'm going to use those two, I think. So again, it's really nice to have everything cut out and play around with it until you find the design that you want. Now, this card for me is going to be for a man. So I'm not going to go in with any bows or anything shimmery or anything like that. I think the liquid pearls that I've popped on are going to be enough. Let's put a little bit of a bit more up at that end and then just a bit down this end. And then we can pop that one on there. And how about that? I think that is perfect. So if you ever struggle with cards for the men, this is definitely going to help you.